Public Policy Fellow at the American University of Beirut. He joins me live on the line from Boston. Welcome to you. Let's just start with the outbreak of violence. It's reported that it was between these two tribal groups in the Sweida region. Do you think that this is likely to be a recurring problem for the Syrian government? Just how volatile is that region?
It's a function of the situation in Syria now since the fall of the Assad regime, but even during the last 7-8 years of civil war in Syria, that the country has not been governed by a strong central government. Now there's this new government, Ahmed al-Sharaf's people came in. They're trying to assert control over the whole government, but they're not having a lot of success yet. Yeah, they had clashes in the Ladiya area. There's clashes in the north and the Kurdish areas. There's now clashes in the Druze areas and the south. And this is a function of the nature of a multi-ethnic country without a clear agreement on the role of the central government or the relationship between the central government and the provincial communities. And the great scholar of Syria at the University of Oklahoma, Joshua Landis, the one I spoke to him this morning, he said this is like a World War I moment all over again, where after the fall of the Ottoman Empire, you had small groups all over the Middle East. Before these countries, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Israel, before these countries came into existence, groups of people were trying to scramble to get their territory and hold it. And what you're seeing is something very similar. But the main theme here is the central government under Shara is trying to assert its control over the whole country in arrangements that are negotiated with the different groups in some kind of federal system, something to be worked out. But that hasn't been achieved yet. The problem with that is that the Israelis are not very happy with that. The Israelis want to keep Syria weak and divided. They bombed the hell out of the country right after the Assad regime left. They bombed your correspondents at 400 or 500 sites. They want Syria to be defenseless as a country so that any people in Syria who need help in the south would turn to the Israelis, which is exactly what the Druze are doing. The Israelis would like the Kurds to remain close to the U.S. army. They would like the Alawites to remain close to the Russian army. So there's a real stress between what the central government is trying to do in Syria and controlling the whole country in a way that's acceptable to all Syrians, and what the Israelis are trying to do, which is to keep Syria divided, weak, and vulnerable, which opens up the possibilities of these kind of local clashes that can be triggered by all kinds of political, economic, water, any kind of issue, and then they can spread as well.
I mean, President Trump, when he lifted sanctions on Syria, had suggested that he wanted to see Syria given a chance to sort of grow and blossom as a nation. But it's clearly being undermined at every turn by Israeli military aggression. How do you think President Trump is going to view Israel's actions?
Well, he asked Israel to stop attacking, and the Israelis just thumbed their nose at him and kept attacking. One of the great unclear dynamics in the Middle East today, and one of the most important ones, what is the exact relationship between the American government and the Israeli government? Who tells who what to do? And it's not clear in the U.S. government. Is it Trump himself who makes these decisions, which he tends to make on tariffs and other things? Or is it a system where serious analysts get together and discuss what's in the best national interest of the U.S.? So we don't know what the U.S. relationship is with Syria. Trump will ask countries to do something that he thinks favors the U.S. national interests, maybe his own business interests, his colleagues. We don't, there's all kinds of factors that go into this. But the U.S. has not been consistent in what it's trying to do. It's trying to make peace all around the region, but it's also deeply involved in wars, including its involvement in the attack on Iran. So the U.S. is a very unpredictable character. And this is one of the, again, recurring problems in the whole Middle East, certainly the West Asia part of it, the Levant, which is the constant external intervention by foreign actors, great powers, regional powers, whatever. And these are issues that can only be resolved when a country, through some kind of credible constitutional process, comes up with an agreement among all of its citizens about how they live, how they're governed, what rights do citizens have, what is the role of the government in security and basic social services. That point hasn't been reached yet in Syria. So I fear we're going to see a lot more of these kinds of incidents ahead. But at the same time, you're going to see the central government, Ahmed Shara's people, who probably are supported by around 70–80% of the Syrian people, we'll see them trying to assert control, but they have to do it politically more than by brute force. And this is something they're still learning to do.
Rami, thank you for the analysis. My guest, Rami Khouri, who's a distinguished public policy fellow at the American University of Beirut.
Thank you, Neil.